Good afternoon, everyone. I figured I'd come live for a little bit and chit chat with everybody while Brian and Dylan both are at work. I did set out some invites. I don't know if anybody will come up or not, but they have been set out. Excuse me. Mouth's dry. Let me get a drink. I'm not hacking on you guys. Do something here real quick. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's just been one of those days today. Thought since I got everything around the house done, got Dylan to work, I'd come on and say hey to everybody. Wait and see if we get any more people in here. I did send out a few invites. Hi, Wolf. How are you doing? Yeah, I see it's your Attitude TV one. It's not your normal one you come in with usually. It's okay. Attitude TV one. I'm good. I had to take my son to work a little bit ago. Brian's at work, so I got everything I need to get done around the house. So I thought, well, I'll come on and chit chat and see how everybody's doing for a little bit. Anything exciting been going on in these YouTube streets? I haven't got caught up on anything yet. I know I missed some stuff last night, but I'll get caught up with it eventually, I guess. That's what happens when you get up at 3 a.m. every morning. You kind of go to bed a little early. You might miss out on a few things. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was scrolling through and I didn't really see anybody really on. So I thought, well, I'll go live for a little bit and say hi. Hi, Samantha B. Oh, thank you, sweetie. Hopefully, Lisa can get down to the phone store today and get her a new phone. Hopefully. I can't believe she don't know what her passcode is. Then they threatened to arrest her yesterday because she didn't know her passcode. Hi, Reaper Man. How have you been? But even like with Boost, I have a 4-digit code. And Brian, Dylan, and I are the only 3 that knows that code to get into my account. I know, Samantha. He threatened to call the police and have her arrested because she didn't know the code to her phone. Like she was trying to gyp them. Hell, she don't even know her own email. Or her login. Tara and I have her login for everything. I can't believe that she didn't know the code. Like I threatened to call the police and have her arrested. Her and her mom went yesterday. She went live yesterday and was talking about it. I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. I'm good, Reaper Man. I was just bored. My son, the old man's at work, and I didn't really see anybody else on, so I thought, well, I'll come on chit chat with y'all for a while. I know exactly, Samantha. And that poor phone, she has dropped it so many times, and it won't stay charged past 2%. I mean, she's got to like rig it with the charge cord and stuff. She definitely needs a new phone. I mean, she lived closer. I have a bunch of cell phones here that I could have gave her. She would just have to buy a new uh, thing to put in it to program it for Cricket. The ones that I have here are Boost phones, but she could always get that little card and put it in. Oh, I know. Samantha, I was laughing at that yesterday. Yeah, the SIM card. I couldn't think what it was at first. No, I don't think she needs 3 days in jail, Jerry. She probably feels like she's in jail right now because she can't really do nothing with that phone. It's not her email she can't remember. She can't remember her passcode for her account. Well, like I said, Tara and I have all of her login information. Me and Tara are usually the ones that do stuff on her channel for her. Oh, I don't think she's going to use them four magic words, though, Jerry. Then we're going to have the fun of helping her how to do everything on a new phone. We just got her to where she knows how to change her picture now. So you don't have the little girl in half naked outfit up there in pink anymore. I don't know, Jerry. She might. I don't know. She's free white and over 21, so she wants to have a few beers, she can. Hi, Tooties. My son's already got the countdown to his birthday on the 27th. He'll be 21. So, Mom, when I turn 21, you got to take me to the state liquor store so I can go in and buy some alcohol. I'm like, okay, child. He took off his birthday and the day after. Some of his friends are going to get drunk that night. And I'm like, well, you guys are going to be drinking. I know he's going to have a hangover from hell. Oh, him and his two best friends, Alex and Michael, they've already got everything planned, and they're going to be at Michael's apartment and they're going to get drunk. And I'm like, oh my, okay. He wants, well, it'd be like day before, but at midnight, which would be on his birthday. He's like, Mom, at midnight, can you take me to a bar? That way I can go in and buy a drink and show my ID and show them that I'm 21. I'm like, yeah, I guess. So I guess at midnight, me and him are going to go to the bar up the street. That way he can go in and buy a drink. He's so excited. He's going to be 21. I don't know where it is, where you guys live, but Ohio changed it where you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes. And he was so happy when he turned 18 because he could buy his own cigarettes. And well, Alex is the only one of the three that drives. Dylan needs to go over and take his permit test. That way he can start practicing to take his driver's test. But Alex, once Alex been drinking, he won't drive. That's one thing about it. Because he had just turned 18 and was able to buy them, and then it was like a month after he turned 18 that they changed it to the 21. So I'm usually the one that'll be like, hey, Mom, I need a pack of cigarettes for work. Can we stop? Will you go in and get them for me? I'm like, yeah. Well, the way I look at it, if at 18 years old, you can sign on that line to put your life on the line for your country, you should be allowed to smoke and drink. And I'm not going to sit up here and say no that I don't let Dylan drink, because I do. He's an adult. He's almost 21 years old. If he wants to have a beer, have a beer. You want to have a shot of Jack, have a shot of Jack. But I would much rather know that he's doing it here and safe than out there. And I'm not going to say that I don't let him, because like I said, I do. If he wants a beer, Brian's got beer in there, get you a beer. He wants a shot of my Jack, get you a shot of Jack, as long as you're here. I don't want you out running the streets drinking, but if you're going to do it, at least be smart about it. Like I said, I think if you at 18, you can sign on that line to put your life on the line for our country, you should be able to smoke and drink if you want to. And like that's really going to stop them anyways. Because I'm sure there's other people out there that like me that feels the same way, and if they're over the age of 18 and they want it, let them have it. Hi, Barbara, sweetie. How are you? Hopefully you're having a good day there, sweetheart. It is, Tootie. But like I said, I believe if our country thinks at 18 years of age you are old enough to be able to sign on that line to defend your country up to including with your life, then you should be allowed to drink. Hi, Flatline, sweetie. And a lot of people may think I'm wrong for that, but that's the way I look at it. And like I said, I'm not going to say that I don't let him drink because I do. And the kid's almost 21 years old, okay? The 27th, he will be 21 years old. You know, he wants to smoke. You're an adult. I can't stop him. But, you know, I would, like I said, I would much rather, though, that Dylan would say, hey, Mom, can you get me this? I want to drink. I'll go get it. You drink here at the house where I know you're safe, not out running the streets. Or he'll be like, hey, me and Alex are going to go over and we're going to stay at Michael's. I'm not stupid. I know 3 guys that age. They're not just sitting there not doing nothing. I'm sorry. Nope. I was that age once. I'm not dumb. I know exactly what they're doing. I don't care. Dylan can be an old gray-haired man. If he wants to live with me, he can stay here living with me. That's my kid. I'm not going to tell him, hey, you have to go. No. Well, if that's how I figured out he was smoking, I know I didn't smoke that many cigarettes. Where's my cigarettes going? And one day I walked past his room and I smelt the smoke. And I opened up his bedroom door. I'm like, Dylan Matthew. And he knew. Oh, Lord. But I can't say much because I started young smoking too. I was stealing cigarettes from my dad, my brother-in-law. So if you're going to smoke, don't try to hide it from me. Just tell me. Ain't like I can stop you. I was young once. I know what it's like. And a lot of people are like, he's almost 21. He still lives at home. Yeah. Yeah, well, if they weren't. And I always looked older than my age, especially when I had my hair and makeup done. In the one place I used to go buy cigarettes all the time when I was actually 18, and they started where that you had to card anyone that looked under a certain age, and she carded me. And she's like, I've been selling you cigarettes for years, and you just turned 18. I'm like, yeah. Exactly, Toodles. I would much rather him be honest with me and be like, hey, Mom, you know, I'm smoking. I mean, at least then. Exactly. Do you know how many times I wrote up my own note and took it to the store acting like I was buying shit for my mom and dad? Excuse me, my mom sent me down here for this. It wasn't for mom and dad. I could perfect my mom's signature. I did it many, many times to get my ass out of school. Me either, Toodles. And like I said, the landlord, when she come by to pick the rent payment up the other day, she's like, is the kid still at home? I'm like, yeah, he'll be 21 on the 27th. She's like, and you ain't kicked him out yet? I'm like, no. I don't care if he's an old gray-haired man. If he wants to live with me, he can stay here living with me. I ain't gonna tell him he has to move out. See, my dad smoked too, Wolf. Now my mom, she was the preacher's daughter. I seen my mom take like 2 sips out of a wine cooler my whole life. My mom didn't drink, she didn't smoke. God, I was probably 12, 13 years old. And I decided I was going to be a smart ass one night. And I told my dad, I said, I bet you I can drink for drink with you anything you want to drink. Because on the weekends, hi, Rachel, Ella. My dad and all my uncles, we had a kegerator in our kitchen, and they would all get together over at our house, and they would drink and stuff. My dad went downstairs, and I don't know how long he had this jar of moonshine down in the basement, pulled it out. I got slacks, but not tube socks on, Rachella. Well, actually, they're like capris. And I think when he brought that jar of moonshine up, that was the drunkest I ever was. I couldn't even walk. I would crawl up 1 step and fall back down 2. My mom standing behind me. I'm like, help me, Mom. She said, no, I'm not helping you, drunk ass. You got yourself into that predicament. You can get yourself upstairs. Or me and my friends, we'd say that we were going down to the campgrounds and we were going to stay down at the camper. We'd go down there and get drunk. When my dad had a liquor cabinet down there, we'd just get into my dad's liquor cabinet and we'd get drunk down there at the campground and stay. So I said, I can't really say nothing because I know what he's doing. I'm like, son, I've already been that age one time. Been there, done that, know what you're doing. Woohoo, Rachella Ella. 80 subs away from 1K. Oh no. I'm definitely not in denial. I mean, I know what he's doing when they're like, oh, we're going to stay at Michael's tonight. Mm hmm. I understand. I've been there, done that. So I told him, I said, you're going to have to get up awful early, child, to pull one over on me. Everything you can think to do, I've already been there and done it. You hate everyone on the internet, Samantha. Yeah, Wolf. I grew up, I was the only girl in the neighborhood. I grew up with all boys. I was a tomboy from hell. I know exactly what boys do. I ain't dumb. Oh, Lord. I haven't even checked Twitter. Usually he writes me books on there. I'm afraid to even go look now. I mean, I posted from my YouTube that I was live, but I haven't actually on Twitter, but I haven't actually been on Twitter. Oh, Lord. It is a pretty cat. I love the orange cats like that, though. But the one I had, he was a black and white, and he had white mitten paws. I named him Mr. Boots. My ex-husband let him out, and I don't know what happened to him. He never did come back. I was going shopping with my sister. I came home looking for Boots and couldn't find him. He's like, oh, he ran out the door. And he kept his bitch cat didn't get out though. And I don't hate any animals, but that cat, she hated me from Jump Street. She never did like me. And Belle, the people I got her from, they had cats. She played with their cats, everything. But baby hated me and Belle. She would attack Belle every time she could. And it was funny that after Jeffrey moved out and left, I had Belle and we went over to my friend Lori's house. Well, Lori and I went over to her friend Angel's house. Well, Angel had an all black cat like Baby was. And I've always had dogs, Wolf. But this cat, he kept coming to the door and he was meowing. He was so hungry. He had these big sore places by his eyes and stuff. And I felt sorry for him. So I brought him in. I took him to the vet and got him all better and stuff. And if I couldn't find Boots, I knew to go look in my bathroom sink because that's all the good luck at the dentist with her, Rachel. Because he loved to sleep in my bathroom sink. Well, when Jeffrey and his cat moved in, Baby, she was straight up bitch. She would attack everybody. She'd bite the hell out of you and put her claws in you and go crazy. And Belle was sitting on my lap one day and she came up over the recliner and I just got home from having my heart catheterization done. I wasn't feeling good anyways. Well, Baby got my side and I mean, she ripped. And I come up off that chair screaming, don't yell at my cat. Well, then get control of your fucking bitch then. And she scratched the fucking hell out of me. And I don't hate any animal. And I'm good with animals. But that cat did not like me at all. And Laura and I went over to her friend Angel's house and I had Belle with me. And Onyx, her male cat, was black like Baby was. And he come up and Belle's growling at him and everything. I'm like, Belle, quit. I was like, that's not Baby. And every time Onyx would get near her, she'd start growling, showing her teeth. And that cat was probably 2 times her size. My little 6 pounds of fury chihuahua over here. Yeah, well, if I've had dogs all my life. Well, I did have a pet raccoon. My uncle was a coon hunter, and he killed the mom, and then he found out she had a nest of babies, so he brought the babies home, and I saved one of them. Once I got older, I knew what Danny had done. He trained his dogs with the other ones. His name was Ricky. I named him Ricky from Shirt Tail's little cartoon, Ricky Raccoon, that was on there. I had a bunny rabbit, Cuddles. She was cream color. I had a turtle, Jasper. I had umpteen million dogs growing up. But my dad never cared for cats. We weren't allowed to have a cat. Now, see, Siamese cats, I can't be around. I'm allergic to them, and I didn't know it. And a friend of mine in school, she had cats. Well, her one male cat, when I fell asleep, he had crawled up on my chest and was sleeping. And I woke up and it was like I couldn't get air down. I couldn't breathe. And her mom called mom and was like, I just had to call the squad. I don't know what's going on, Sean. I can't breathe, blah, blah. Get me to the hospital. And they couldn't figure out what it was. They said I was having a reaction to something. Well, then after they got me to where I could breathe and stuff again, next day I had to have those allergy tests done. And here it come back. I was allergic to her cat, is what had done it. I had those little pricks where they prick you with 15 million things to see if you're allergic to it. But I didn't have the problem with Boots, and I didn't have a problem with Baby. It was just that one Siamese that about did me in. Oh, Lord, Rachella. I try to avoid lunch hour traffic as much as possible. But I don't live in a big town, and I still don't like lunch hour traffic. And I try to avoid the school hour when I know they're going to school or when they're coming home from school. Because it is a mess through town. Oh, wow, Rachella. Okay, honey. Have you tried putting it like in a little piece of hot dog or something? I don't know if your cat would eat it or not. Then on my ex-husband's cat, that's what we had to do. We took like little Vienna sausage pieces and we'd mush it up in it, and then she would eat it that way. And my one dog, that's how I used to have to get him to take his medicines. I had to put it in like a hot dog. Uh, will they eat like wet? Will that one eat like wet food, Samantha? That maybe you could hide it in the wet food? Yeah, I know. That's how we used to have. Like I said, my ex-husband, his cat baby. We would have to hide it in her wet food to get her to take it. Belle was raised inside her whole life, so she don't like go out to go potty. We have to put puppy pads down. So as soon as she goes on the puppy pad, then I'll pick it up and I'll put a new one down. But and usually I keep one in the bedroom and then one by each the front and back door, and then she knows to go to the puppy pad. And then as soon as I see that she's went on the puppy pad, I'll pull it up and put a new one down. But I'll take her out, like if we're outside or something, I'll take her out with me. She is very spoiled, Samantha. And Brian and Dylan are the world's worst. They cannot go to the store without bringing her back a toy, or Brian will bring her home Slim Jims and break it up in pieces and give it to her. And she's awful. And she knows she's got us all wrapped around her little paw. Oh, yeah. She's such a spoiled baby. Yes, her is. but it's called Taste of the Wild is the food I have her on. The vet said that was probably the best, and it's got all the nutrients and everything that she needs. But she gets human food too, though. She thinks she's got to eat whatever we're eating too. And she'll sit there so patiently, just watching every bite you take until you give her some. She could be in a dead sleep, and you open a Slim Jim wrapper, and buddy, she'll come up out of that complete sleep and begging, wanting it because she heard it. She knew what it is. And she loves those little cans of Vienna sausages. I'll get her those. And she's spoiled too. She has to have a thing of wet food beside her dry food every day. And if she don't have her wet food, she will pout on you until you give it to her. The other day before I got my car back, I didn't have any wet food here to give her. And she pouted on me all day till Brian got off work and he called me. He's like, I'm off. Do you need anything on my way home? I'm like, yes, Bill needs some wet food. She don't have any. Then once he came home with that and I gave her wet food, and she was happy again. Tats, I do too. And she knows it too. That's why she'll come sit by me when I'm eating. And then she always knows once Brian's done, he hardly ever eats all his food either. And she'll get his plate afterwards. She is. She is very spoiled, Samantha. And toys galore. She's got so many toys and chew sticks. And she's got her own blanket that she has to have to sleep with. And I've never been one for small dogs. I've always raised big dogs, and it's what I was used to. But after I got sick and I knew I couldn't really handle the big dogs anymore, but I wanted an animal back because I missed having a pet. And then a friend of mine, she's like, Shauna, she showed me this video of her. And she's like, my friend has this dog, but she can't keep her. Her husband doesn't like the dog and he's really mean to her. And she won't, she can't find no one to take her. I was like, well, tell her we'll come up tomorrow and get her. And I went up and got her, and he started yelling at her that day that I was there. I mean, he was really mean. I said, look, this is my dog now, so back the fuck up. I said, you won't have to worry about her no more. He shut up and didn't know what to say to me then. Belle's a chihuahua. She don't bite. She don't bark. Well, the whole time I'm online, I mean, you guys will never hear her. She's not a barker. If Belle barks, you know to go look that there's somebody here because she don't bark just to bark. Or if my son's playing with her, then she'll bark. Dylan can get her going, but she thinks she can rule Dylan. She knows she can't me and Brian, but Dylan she bullies. If she wants something, she'll keep barking until he gives in to whatever she wants. Yes, Tats. And it was like I said, I told him that day, I'm like, look, she's not your dog no more. She's mine. Shut the fuck up. I've had her almost a year now. But I wouldn't trade her for the world. She's my baby. And her knows it. If I get in to take a shower, I have to leave the bathroom door cracked to where she can get in. And she'll come in, look in the shower, make sure I'm still in there. And then she'll go back out and then she'll come back in again. And if I shut the door, then she'll sit out there and whine outside the bathroom door. So I got to leave it cracked enough that she can get in so she makes sure that I'm okay. And she's helped because after I got sick, I was in depression really, really bad. But Belle helps. Her does. Her helps her mama. When I got her, she was only 3 pounds. And then when I took her about a month and a half ago to the vet for her yearly checkup, she was 6.8 pounds. She's doubled in size since I've had her. But the vet said her was healthy. Yeah. And she has seizures. And that was another reason I wanted, because she was starting to have them a little bit more frequently. But he said if I did ever put her on the medicine, that we could never take her off of the medicine. And if she would ever miss the medicine, it could cause a worse seizure than what she's having now. He said since she only has them once every in a great while, he wouldn't recommend putting her on medicine at this time. But if we notice that they start getting more frequent, then yes, then we might want to consider putting her on meds. But I wanted to make sure that, she was okay and everything was good. And so everything was fine. Everything come back. She's healthy. Oh, Lord, Amanda. They don't know, Tats. It's just she has seizures. I mean, the people I got her from, they told me that she did, but they weren't real frequent. So when I noticed that she was having, there was like 2 weeks in between, and I thought, wait a minute, okay, they're starting to get more frequent. I instantly called them like, hey, it's almost time for her yearly, anyways. I'm worried because she's having them more closer together. Can we get her in? And that's like, yeah, can you be here tomorrow? I'm like, yep. And I took her out, and he did some blood work and stuff, and come back. Tats, I'm one of the people that I will talk to an animal before I talk to the owner. Especially if I'm like at a park or someone has a dog, and I'm like, oh, hi there, what you doing, pretty boy, girl, whatever it is. And then I'll be like, oh, hi, how old is it, or whatever. But I will talk to the animal before I do the owners. I've always been an animal lover, though. When I was younger, I used to say I wanted to be a vet. Then my mom was sick, and I seen with her being sick and stuff, I decided to go into nursing. I'd rather go into something where I could help people. So I know what it was like when mom was sick, and thank God, because there at the end, I was able to take care of her, and till the day she passed. Oh, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I mean, that was my mom. One time I was transferring her from the bed to her bedside commode because she had to go and stuff, and I was cleaning her back up. Oh, thanks, Samantha. And I was just like, she's like crying. She's like, you shouldn't be doing this. I should be the one doing it for you. And I'm like, Mom, it's okay. I would do it a million times if I have to. You did it for me. Now it's my turn to take care of you. She went yesterday, Tat. She couldn't remember her PIN to her account. They threatened to call the police and have her arrested. I haven't talked to her today. That's just the way that they raised her. I mean, and now if I'm outside doing stuff in the yard or stuff, or like if we go like to the lake fishing or go to like and have like a picnic or something, I'll take her with me. So she does get out then, or like if we're just going somewhere real quick, then I'll take her with me. But now, but that's the way she was raised. They raised her as an inside dog. They trained her with puppy pads, so that's all she knows. Oh, Tats, I have well, my mom and dad had me and my sister. My sister's 13 years older than me. Literally, the year Leela graduated, I started kindergarten. So it was like mom and dad were starting all over again. But my mom, there was 9 of them, and my dad, there was 13 of them. Oh, I know, Tats. I know she was going to try to go today, and hopefully the other guy is at the store and not that guy. I mean, Tara and I are the one that does everything with their channel and has her password and sets everything up for her. I wish she would have told me or Tara one what her pin was. At least then she could have been like, hey, Shauna, Tara, what's my pin? And we could have gave it to her. See, Tats, I'm the baby. My sister is like a second mom growing up to me. There's 13 years in between us. And I had to share a room with my sister. Her favorite games was we had to go upstairs and she'd play so much of a record. And I had to tell her the name of the song. And Brian knows I cannot stand to do that now. And we'll be in the car. He's like, what's the name of the song? And I'll just glare at him and he'll start laughing. I'm like, this ain't Name That Tune. I'd do that enough growing up. When I was younger and we'd go, mom and my sister and I would all go shopping. People would always be like, oh, mom was paying for stuff. She's like, oh, is your grandma buying this for you? And mom would get so mad. She's like, I'm not her grandma. I'm her mom. Because everybody thought Leela was my mom and my mom was my grandma. Mom and dad always wanted a boy, had us 2 girls, and then both of us girls had boys. So my nephew and my son were spoiled rotten. Still are. I mean, there ain't nothing Dylan would ever want to ask from my dad that my dad wouldn't do for Dylan. And he knows it too. I mean, my sister was like a second mom to me, but then again, not only was she like a second mom to me, but me and my sister are very close. We still are. I mean, there's not a day goes by that I don't talk to my sister if I don't go over to her house or. And see, I love music, and my son does too. But Dylan likes the older music, like I grew up listening to. He don't like too much of today's music. I mean, Dylan would rather sit down and listen to like Def Leppard, Poison, Kiss. He likes the older music. He don't like so much today's music. I mean, he listens to some of it, but and there isn't very many songs that Dylan doesn't know. Dylan loves music. Music is a big thing to Dylan. But see, Tats, my dad always wanted a boy, had us two girls. But I was a tomboy growing up. I was a daddy's girl, though. Really, really bad. And my dad and my uncles and everybody, they'd be outside working on the cars and stuff, and there'd be something they couldn't get their hands into. And when I was little, I went by my middle name, Nicole, and a lot of them called me Co or Coco. And Dad would be like, "Hey, Coco, come here for a minute." And he'd grab me up, hand me the tool, show me what he wanted to do. And I had to get up there and get into the parts where they couldn't get their hands into. Dylan will sit and listen to music in his room rather than watch TV. Hi, Chris. And there isn't much music that Dylan really doesn't know. He'll be playing music in the car because he's got this thing where we can do it through the speakers on the car. And he'll play music and be like, "Hey, Mom, do you remember this song? Hey, Mom, how old were you when this song came out?" I'm like, "Dylan, quit." His boss at work, she loves my Volvo that I have. She's always telling Dylan, she's like, "I want your mom's car. I love them cars." Oh, Tats, my son is everything to me. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have him in my life. Dylan and I have always been close, though. I mean, from a kid that they told me with his learning disabilities, they didn't know if he would ever be able to make it on his own. And to watch him prosper to what he has and what he is now is like a miracle to me. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love my child. My child is my whole world. And I see my nephew was kind of like me and my sister. The age difference between me and him. And then when Dylan come along, because I spoiled Justin rotten. Well, I still do. And then he kind of had to share everybody. He was kind of jealous at first, but he got over it. And Dylan and my nephew are close. And Justin, my nephew, I mean, even though he's married, has my great niece, him and my sister are still really close and do a lot of stuff together. We've always been a close family. I mean, Justin loved AC/DC. So, as Justin's graduation gift, when he graduated, I bought tickets and the hotel and everything, and I took him to see AC/DC. And the closest that they were going to be around Ohio was down in Louisville, Kentucky. So I drove all the way down there. Tats, when he was 2.5 years old, my nephew, the guy I was dating at the time, he was helping my nephew practice for pitching that night in his baseball game. And he overthrew Leo, and when he did, the ball hit Dylan in the head. Dylan bounced off of my dad's trailer that he hauled his lawnmower with and hit the ground when he started going into seizures. So I grabbed him up, took him to the hospital. Guy in hospital here couldn't get him to quit seizing. So they had to call Children's, and he had to be life flighted down to Children's. But because he seized for so long, Children's told me, that he was going to have probably problems the rest of his life. So Dylan does have a learning disability. He had to be in special classes and school and stuff. But that boy has come such a long way and has done stuff that they told me he would never be able to do. And he's doing it. Well, they told me he would probably never be able to hold down a job. Dylan has a job. He has done so much that they said he would never be able to do. And to me, that's awesome, because I was told he would never be able to do this, and he is proving people wrong that said he would never be able to do it. He's doing it. He's living life. And I've always been there. They joked because Dylan was born premature and he had to go down to Children's because he was born with RSV in his lungs. And they used to joke when they would come around at shift change, and they were like, "This is baby Bates. You never have to worry. Mom never leaves," because I wouldn't leave his side. The only time I would leave was enough to go to my aunt's house, take a shower, change clothes, and I was right back up there to Children's Hospital with him. And when I went to my aunt's house, either my aunt or one of my cousins sat there with him. I mean, I've been through so much with this child, and for a long time, I was very, very protective over Dylan. And I didn't want Dylan out of my sight. And then there ain't nothing in this world that I wouldn't do for my child. I would lay my life down for my child in a heartbeat. And that's why when he was getting bullied here in our local school district, I was in that office just about every day. When Dylan was going through his suicidal phase because these people were picking on him and shit, and the school wasn't doing anything, I was the one in there yelling and raising hell. I was the one. So when I found out about alternative school that they bust them from the local high school to the school and back every day. I pulled Dylan out of our local school systems and I moved him to this other school. And it was a complete 180. I mean, Dylan went from he couldn't count money, he could barely add and subtract, to being able to do everything now. Dylan played football. I let him play football. He tore both his ACLs and ended up finally the orthopedic doctor was like, no, I'm not going to sign the paperwork for him to go back. Oh, Tats, I've always been proactive. You know, and even when he, like I said, when he was playing football, I was the mother running up and down the sides of the field yelling for him. And the parents would laugh at me because I'd be like, Dylan, you better hit him this time and stuff. I was running down the sidelines with him. I mean, the first time he told me he wanted to die and had a knife in his hand, I literally had to football tackle him in our kitchen and wrestle the knife away from him. And I called Guy in hospital and told him that I was on my way, that my son was suicidal. And they already had the room prepped and everything. I had to have him before I moved him out of Guyan City Schools, hospitalized 6 times for being suicidal. No, Tats, I never did. I mean, every night when he came home from school, he knew when he come in, we sat down at the table. If he had homework, that was the first thing we did, is we sat down and did it. You know, and I let him try to do what he could and what he couldn't. And then I would kind of walk him through, or if he had to take notes about something, like if in science and he had to find a definition of the word in the book, I'd be like, okay, Dylan, let's look at this paragraph. I want you to read me this paragraph and tell me what you think that this wants you to put. I mean, it was constantly, I sat down every day when he got home from school. We sat down at the kitchen table. Homework came first. And then if he wanted to play his video games or get ready for football practice or whatever. But as soon as he walked in that door, he knew homework came first. And that's something I instilled in him all the way through school. As soon as you come home, you sit down, that you do that homework. Your homework comes before playtime. I would never let his disability limit him. I told him that he could do everything everybody else could. It may take him a little longer. We have to go over Tad's. He's been studying his book. So he's got to go over and take his written permit and then get his driving permit. After he takes that, then they'll give him his driving permit where we can go out and work with him. He wants to get his license, and I told him I'll take him out and I'll work with him. So he don't have a day off at all this week. None, because he asked for his birthday and the day after off. Because I knew him and his friends were going to be drinking. I'm like, Dylan, you're 2 days off. You better ask for your, not only just your birthday, but the day after, because I know you're going to be hungover the next day. And then I'll take him out and we'll work on him driving. I mean, if I need the car pulled up or down out of the driveway or something, I'll let Dylan do it. But I haven't, until he gets that permit, I won't take him out and turn him loose on the street. No. And constantly when I'm driving, I'm constantly, why am I doing this? Why is this questioning him while we're driving? And trust me, I'll be so glad when he gets his license and I don't have to be the chauffeur everywhere. Oh, I know, Tats. I worry when him and Alex are going to Michael's. I like, call me when you get there. If you guys are going to stay there, call, let me know that you're going to be staying there, that you're not going to be home. I'm constantly, it's like, 'cause I've always told him, I said, if you and Alex are going to be drinking over there, because I know what they're doing, I'm not stupid. Because Michael's 21, so he can buy the alcohol. I said, at least call and just let me know that you're not going to be home. You guys are staying at Michael's. Oh, I know I'm going to be a basket case the first time that he goes driving away on his own. Hi, Barbara. How you doing, beautiful? You having a good day today? Yeah, Wolf, he does. I mean, I've turned him loose on backcountry roads and stuff. And like I said, I'm constantly drilling it into him when we're driving. Ugh. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Oh, you're fine. Then I don't have to worry about taking him to work. I don't have to worry about going and picking him up from work because then once he gets his license, he can do that all on his own. I know Dylan's like, Mom, he said, is the test multiple questions or not? I'm like, Dylan, I said, do you realize how long it has been since your mother went and took her permit test? I'm like, I think they were multiple choice back then, but I don't know what it is now. I'll have to tell him that tonight when he gets off, then we know, like in the back of the book, they have, but it's multiple choice. So I'm thinking that the test will probably be something like that, like it's in the back of your book that you get to read and study. And we do that all the time. I'll sit down and I'll ask him the questions and give him the answers that it could be and see if he gets the right answer and stuff. You look pretty girl. Well, bless you, Bell Bells. And on the back of the book, it's multiple. You have A, B, C, D that you got to pick which one it is. The other night when we did it, he only missed one in the back of the book. Hi, Carlos. No, I think I am going to end this. I got to go get stuff prepped and ready for dinner tonight. I can get that going before Brian gets home from work. I have to go pick Dylan up from work. I'm sure I'll see you all around somewhere today. Have a good day, everybody, and thank you for coming in.